So, the Avalanche are bad. Real bad. But that doesn't mean that they can't defy our expectations just slightly. So, today, I'm going to be talking about if the Avalanche are underrated and should we be giving them more credit as a team than we should be. Now, you guys know that the Avalanche had one of the worst seasons possible for an NHL team, one of the worst in the history of a salary cap team, and it was just terrible for them. Like, everything went wrong, and they just couldn't get anything going. They couldn't get wins going. They couldn't get anything going. A lot of their players were injured, and a lot of the key players that they had just weren't producing. Now, the Avalanche, they had 48 points last year. 82 games, 48 points. It's not, you can't get much worse than that. But you can improve from the season before, and I think that the Avalanche will do that slightly. They'll probably still be the worst team in the league, but I think that they'll do a lot better than they did, which is saying something. Isn't saying much, but they'll get around the 60-point range, 70 points maybe. But they'll still be a terrible team, but they will not be as nearly as bad as last season. Now let's look at their forwards for this upcoming season. They got McKinnon, they got Duchesne, he's still here somehow. Apparently Sakic just threw the price range for him way up, like 4th, something like that, just way up so that no team would really give him a shot for trading for Duchesne. And so he's still here, and the morale with him is just so terrible because he knows that they don't want him there. He knows that he doesn't want to be there, and it's just like a complete mess of a situation there. I don't think Duchesne will play well. He might, just to prove a case of, hey, I really want to be treated, but I don't know. It'll have to take quite a bit for Duchesne to be traded in my eyes. I don't think he will, just because I think that the price is too high, and if he doesn't produce in Colorado, I just don't think it's going to work out. But next you have Landeskog, you got Rantanen. That's a decent top 6. That's a very great first line. I know that for sure. That's a decent top 6. And then for the bottom 6, you got Como, you got Andrighetto, you got Nieto, Compher, Jost, and Yakupov. That ain't bad. I mean, you've got some rookies that have come up, like Jost and Compher, that I think will contribute a lot on that bottom 6. And it's not a terrible lineup. It really isn't. And they were just terrible last season. Nobody could really perform. Everything went wrong for them. They had a solid team, but they just couldn't get anything going. They couldn't score. They couldn't defend. Of course, Volomov was injured, and Bakard wasn't fantastic for that. And the defense was just horrible last season for them. Now let's look at the defense for this season. You got Barrie, you got Johnson, you got Zadorov, Nemeth, who was claimed off of Dallas's from waivers, Bigris, and Barberio. It's not bad. Of course, you got a big hole in that bottom 6 pairing, not bottom 6, but top 6 pairing. It's the defense is Johnson is overrated to heck and back. His contract is terrible. Barrie is a good defenseman. He's very solid. Zadorov is a decent one. Nemeth is a defensive defenseman. That's basically it. Bigris is a guy that'll come up. He's pretty young. We'll see what he is all about. I think he's just a typical two-way forward. And Barberio, who shouldn't really be playing in the NHL. Next up, the goalies. So you got Varlamov, who was basically injured the whole season last season. And he really didn't get that much playing time, so we didn't really see how well he would perform and how well he was. And then you got Bernier as backup, which isn't terrible on a team like this, but he'll do The goalies aren't anything special, but they aren't the worst team in the world goalies. So it's like, again, the case that the Colorado Avalanche are a terrible team. I don't quite see it. I think that they're the definition of an team, but they just couldn't get anything together last season. They'll be a lot better this season. But will they be the worst team? Probably. I mean, there's not too much competition. I think Detroit is their best competition for worst in the league, but they'll be the worst in the league probably. Even though I think Detroit is weaker in some points, but there isn't any terrible teams in the NHL. It's pretty dang spread out. There's no really tanking teams like MLB, like the NBA, like the NFL. Basically, every other league has teams that are just terrible and don't really have any pieces to win. But the Colorado Avalanche have that, and they were the worst team by far last season. So, will they be better? I think they'll be much better, but they'll still be the worst team in the league. It's just there's so much competition for that. But that's going to be it for today, guys. Guys, enjoy. Make sure you like. Guys, really enjoy it. Make sure to subscribe. See you guys later. Goodbye.